朋友们，你看，我现在要体验这个地球上马力和扭矩都很强的轿车之一——宝马新时代的驾趣概念车 VDX。我跟你说，这可不是一般的车。你看，我都得系这种4点式的安全带。Four in total, awesome. Okay. Okay. 我要去了。A little nervous. It's like roller coaster. Thank you. 你们听见我叫了吗？太刺激了，太刺激了！有一种脚踩在地面上的踏实感，就是感觉速度特别快，然后嗖，但是也没有感觉自己要被甩出去吧，就是它那个座是把我包住的那样一个感觉，还挺稳的。尤其是在那个坡顶端的时候，你在这儿看着那个坡好像就是这样的，但我在上面坐着的时候，你完全就感觉自己就真的是垂直要掉下去的感觉。这个赛车手司机非常的 chill， 一点都不害怕，就我在那儿紧张，跟个小丑一样。哎，你不好奇吗？你说宝马为什么要造这么一辆车？谁也不可能在马路上这么个开法，也没有那么个坡给你爬，它到底要干嘛呢？哎，我跟你说哈，我现在要去请教一位高人。更关键的是，这个高人正好姓高。Nice to meet you, Yuhan.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
哎，这位就是宝马集团负责品牌、销售和市场的董事高乐先生。哎，宝马的董事可是2只手就数得过来，是头几号的人物。而且他之前还是大中华区的 CEO， 在中国待了10几年，那相当有发言权了。Thank you for coming to our channel. So I just experienced the VDX. It's amazing and breathtaking. So could you maybe tell us a little bit more about the VDX, as why BMW built it, and what are the technology breakthrough?
Of course. I mean, first of all, it's great that you've experienced. The VDX is a prototype. It's very important.
Okay.
So the car itself, as you see, is a prototype, and it will not go into series production. But the technology included. And what we want to do is we want to transfer our famous sheer driving pleasure, of course, into the electric age. For the VDX stands for Vision Driving Experience, and it is the most powerful, probably, concept car we have ever built. And in terms of technology, so the car delivers 18,000 Newton meters of torque. 18,000.
How large is that?
It's a bit like when you are in an aircraft, you start. It presses you into the seat. Yeah? The car is including, or the vehicle is including our Heart of Joy.
Heart of Joy.
And Heart of Joy is managing the powertrain, deceleration, acceleration, and delivers a very unique electric driving performance. And as I said, we built this car to show what is technically possible, to then of course adapt it to road and to series cars.
你看啊，它这个车其实不是为了量产，主要就是为了验证和展示新时代车型的操控体验，就是驾控这部分的技术。关于这个新时代车型，我稍微解释一下，它相当于是宝马未来纯电系列车型的一个统称。你看，就是这俩，23年9月发布的这个叫做 Vision New A Classic 新时代概念车，24年3月又发布了一个 Vision New A Classic X 新时代 X 概念车。这其实也是宝马面对现在新能源时代最大的一个战略布局。你要是问说宝马之后的车长什么样啊？哎，它未来的纯电轿车和纯电 SAV 就长这样。然后去年跟今年，宝马又陆陆续续的发布了新时代车型不少的功能跟细节，比如说今年 CES 上发布了一个全景 iDrive 系统，还有上半年发布了大圆柱电池，这次发布的是管驾控体验的，叫 Heart of Joy 驾控超级大脑。你看啊，他们还挺有创意的，搞了这么陡一个坡，现场看非常有视觉冲击力。当时现场还找了几个观众去徒手爬那个坡，我也不知道怎么的就被叫上去了。我不是托哈，当时我上去的时候，我跟主持人都懵了。
你不是谁？我认识你啊！你不是小林吗？我老看你。
咱说回来哈，总之呢，宝马就是想通过这个形式去展示车的操控性能，还有驾驶的乐趣。As you mentioned, you talk about like the joy of driving and the fun of driving, and nowadays people are talking more about autonomous driving. Why is BMW still talking about the fun of driving?
Well, first of all, even with the so-called advanced driving assist systems, for example, when you talk about lane change warning or you talk about automatic overtaking, so there is indeed an autonomous element in the car, but there is also a driving element in the car. And it's very, very important for us to make this driving element always like a BMW would drive. And this will never go away, by the way. For example, where you choose to drive yourself. Let's say you want to go on an escape tour. You want to go to Badaling, for example, Great Wall. Amazing. There are some amazing curvy roads. And I tell you, there you want to drive yourself.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is, even in the electric age, even with cars, which are very intelligent, we want to deliver that sheer driving pleasure, which only BMW can do. Because I disagree with people saying a car is a smartphone on wheels, because you trust your life with that car.
Yeah.
It's not a smartphone, and you want it to be safe.
Sure.
You want it to be in control. And as you probably know, it's easy to build a fast car, but it's not easy to build a controllable car.
So you mean the technology, the heart of joy, would actually be used in the mass production? When is that?
Well, the first car of our Neue Klasse generation we will introduce by the end of this year. And in China, you will see that in the first half of next year.
Okay.
So will be produced in Shenyang, and this car, the first car, will be called an iX3. So it's an X3 electric, and it will actually contain all the technologies. We'll also have what we call as BMW panoramic iDrive.
The whole,
so a head-up display across the whole front, from pillar to pillar. It's actually, in fact, one projection screen across the whole windscreen. And you can get in three segments different information. So in front of you is usually the speed and certain information like navigation relevant for your driving. And then you have, for example, weather or some other information in the center. And you can configure it for the co-passenger, which you can communicate. There is a special cut display in the center, and you have a multifunctional steering wheel. And on top of that, you have a 3D head-up display projected into the windscreen. And all of this in combination with the Heart of Joy will come into the series production by the end of the year. And then in the next years, we're going to roll out more and more and more cars. So it's a whole family. It's not just one car.
May I ask why the first car would be iX3? Is there a reason?
That's a good question, actually. No, I think at the end of the day, what you do is when you design an architecture, because it's a completely new architecture, as I said, with a new drivetrain, with a new generation of batteries, then what you do is you actually pick one car in a way which is due for renewal. And in this case, the current iX3 is performing quite well. But it's coming at the end of the life cycle. And therefore now, of course, the new iX3 is the first car to be introduced.
Now maybe let's move on to something about the China market. As I know you've been in China for
13 years in
30
total.
years, yeah. So in China market, for example, we like long wheelbase or we like intelligent ecology. I'm wondering what is BMW's strategy to match the local demand?
I mean, first of all, the China market is the biggest market worldwide in terms of new car sales. And it is meanwhile also the most advanced market, because when you look at the average age of new car buyers, the average age of new car buyers in China is probably around 32 years old, whereas in other markets in the US and Europe it's much older. So you have a different preference. And of course people are more into digital, people are more into, let's say, into screens.
高乐还跟我说了一个挺有意思的细节，早期这些高端品牌不都是进口到中国吗？后来国产了，他怎么干的呢？基本上就把国外的车型拉长，差不多就完事儿了，供给中国市场。但现在中国市场已经完全的就是 fundamentally 全变了。
I mean, when you look at the cars now, they're developed in China, they're engineered for China, and it's not only about the length, it's everything. You have a different UI UX. Give an example for BMW. So we also started a long time ago with long wheelbases. But now what we do have is we have a complete footprint of R&D here in China. Even in today's cars, when you look at for example, the X1 currently has operating system 9. 70% of the UI, UX and the features is locally developed. You talk about the seat engineering, for example. You talk about the chassis adaptation. That is all, I would say, made and engineered in China. I mean, what we always try to do is to combine the best of both worlds, because there are areas where we are, I would say, leading, sheer driving pleasure, joy of driving. And there are areas where the Chinese companies are advanced. For example, Huawei and CATL and Tencent.
我跟你说哈，宝马在各取所长这块还真不是说好听的，他们真的是几乎跟国内的大厂合作了个遍。比如说跟华为合作，融合鸿蒙生态；跟阿里巴巴合作，接入大语言模型。然后最近上海车展还宣布接入 DeepSeek，跟字节旗下的火山引擎合作，把 AI 给接入到了营销服务的体系里，等等吧。这里边还有一个非常关键的合作，就是电池领域。
I mean, the Chinese companies are leading in terms of high voltage batteries. So the high voltage battery for the electric cars.
Okay.
And when you look at, I think out of the top 10 battery makers for cars, I would say at least 5 are from China.
Yeah.
And the biggest one is CATL,
CATL,
and EVE, and we actually work with CATL already since 2012.
Yeah, the first customer
The
of
first customer
CATL.
at that time. So Robin Chang is the CEO, so I know him personally. And actually, at that time, CATL was very small.
Yeah.
And now they are number one globally. So what we do is we buy the cells from someone like CATL or EVE, and then the engineering of the high voltage battery pack. So the whole thing is called high voltage battery pack. That is something which we do in-house, and then it's perfectly fit into our cars.
Did you guys make it in Shenyang factory, the battery pack?
I mean, what we do is we follow a strategy in the market for the market.
Sure.
So the cars are produced in Europe for Europe, in China for China, and mainly in US for US. So actually Shenyang is our largest production base in the world.
If there is one sentence you would like to summarize a BMW car, what would it be?
I mean, it must be the ultimate driving machine.
Ultimate driving machine.
But I would actually add something, because given the fact that it's such an intelligent car, I would probably say we have to change the ultimate driving machine in the ultimate and intelligent driving machine. And that is probably describing BMW in the best way.
你看，我们今天看了宝马的 Heart of Joy 驾控超级大脑，也跟高乐先生聊了聊作为传统豪华车企，宝马在新能源市场的冲击下的一些思考和布局。其实你会发现非常核心的一点，不是说现在智能化的功能越来越多，越来越受欢迎，宝马就立马换赛道。它其实是希望继续坚持自己的优势，把重点放在操控和驾驶乐趣上，在这个基础上，借着数字化和智能化，有一个更出色的驾驶体验，去延续经典，在智能出行上也有一个新的高度。说实在的，你现场去体验那个车爬坡漂移，然后闻着那个非常浓郁的轮胎烧焦的味道，对那个驾驶的乐趣还是非常能感同身受的。其实，在智能化方面啊，高乐也挺坦诚的，他就说了，中国企业智能化确实走在前面，那我们就多多合作。但至于一辆车的内核，在电动化的趋势下，按他的话说啊，就是宝马车还得是一辆宝马车。